Welcome everybody to the Red Bull Ring, round one of DTM 2026.
New tires, debuting drivers, and a revised balance of performance were set to turn the Styrian Mountains into a blockbuster for Germany's premier GT Racing Championship. And right from Friday morning, drama was indeed to commence. With new Pirelli tires on board, specifically developed for DTM racing, BOP was to be a tricky task, as 2025 wasn't going to be a worthwhile reference anymore. Seeing as weather conditions throughout testing had been suboptimal, DTM spontaneously added a third free practice session on Friday to simulate qualifying. And if said Friday was anything to go by, Mercedes aces like Lukas Auer, Jules Guenot, and Maro Engel were the odds-on favorites for the rest of the weekend. Despite this clear-cut result, BOP remained unchanged for Mercedes, with McLaren being considered the preseason benchmark. Aston Martin, Ferrari, Ford, and BMW were able to drop a bit of weight on Saturday morning, whereas Aston and Ferrari were also able to slightly increase boost pressure for their turbos. If anything, Lamborghini's struggling Temerario GT3 received no such support going from Friday to Saturday, despite their absolutely woeful pace. Maro Engel was able to clinch this year's first pole position by 15 one-thousandths of a second ahead of Ben Deux. Mercedes usually doesn't have the greatest of track records around the Red Bull Ring, with high altitudes having an impact on engine power, especially naturally aspirated engines. Still, Engel managed to push his blue Renault GT3 to a record-setting lap of 1 minute 27.403. Thomas Preining qualified in third, scoring the final point in qualifying, Lukas Auer behind in fourth, with rookie Bastian Boos rounding out the top 5 in his Land Motorsport Porsche. Kelvin van der Linde qualified in 11th on his comeback. Not the worst result considering some technical woes in preseason testing, while the Lamborghinis of Engstler, Mappelli, and Powell made up the back rows of the field. Race 1. Sunshine ablaze, smiles all around, no BOP changes since qualifying, 6 months of preseason build-up ready to burst into life with a 40-year-old DTM veteran on pole position, possibly building towards his first ever crown? The races go, everybody fouling through the first few corners, taking a page out of the IndyCar playbook with regards to track limits. Ben Deux is seen fighting for his life around veterans and stars of DTM, losing position after position, dropping back into the clutches of Bastian Boos on the start of lap 2. A small love tap sends the sophomore driver into the barrier, causing the first safety car of the day. Everybody's bunched up behind Cooper's SpongeBob-looking box, eager to restart the race and ignore people's complaints about DTM geo-blocking their streams. Once the green flag is out, Maro Engel is able to defend his lead from Thomas Preining, Lukas Auer, and Jules Guenot. Ricardo Feller had to drop out of the top flight fight due to a false start penalty. This means that the Porsche Works driver was forced to slow down and crawl through the infamous penalty box. Timo Glock remains the only Deux McLaren in the field, squabbling with Tom Calenda, Matteo Cairoli, or both Schubert BMWs. After a disappointing qualifying, Van der Linde and Wittmann are weaving their way through the field, even if that means they're fighting each other all across the circuit.
Man, keep walking on that racing. What are they doing?
Time for the pit stops. DTM's singular Saturday pit stop window consists of 20 minutes, with most drivers deciding to take an early dash to their crew around Spielberg. According to Chris Hartley on commentary, the pit stop delta should be around 40-ish seconds, with the pit stops themselves varying between 6 and 8 seconds. Preining and Guenon in front avoid any potential misery when they choose to visit their crews, especially compared to drivers like Terry Vermeulen.
Well, Maro Engel, if he's happy with the tyres, will he stay out? His last lap was a 129.5. His very best lap is just under a 129.2. So the pace is still good here. There's no traffic ahead. If he doesn't want to, there's no reason to come in just yet, is there?
Well, just to prove us wrong there, into the pits comes our race leader.
irrespective of our commentator's mediocre prediction, maybe Mauro should have stayed out. His left rear tire doesn't want to come off the car, which increases the length of his pit stop to 11.7 seconds. In turn, Thomas Preining, Lucas Auer, and Jules Guenard managed to get by. Auer's pit stop isn't perfect either, enough to get ahead of Mercedes colleague Engel, but for all intents and purposes, Preining is now in the lead of the race. His closest challenger, Monsieur Guenard, is temporarily stopped by a second safety car thanks to the technical woes of Nicolas Beert's Aston Martin. That said, because of this interruption, the new race length is going to be 55 minutes plus 3 laps instead of 1. No, I definitely didn't f*** this up during my original season preview. I'm so sorry. Possibly more than enough time for a showdown between Porsche and Mercedes. Green flag. Round about 15-ish minutes to go. Preining excels at the restart. Guenard chasing down his first ever DTM victory. Glock is still fighting in a strong 6th place, keeping both BMWs at bay. Quite a relief considering Dörr's and Glock's horrendous 2025 campaign. Schubert's BMWs are in a clinch with teenage sensation Tom Kalender, Landgraf teammate of Shoebox representative and local hero Lucas Auer, competing at the tender age of 18.
Oh no, penalty lap coming for Timo Glock from 6th place because he spanned the wheels on the air jacks. You're not allowed to do that, it's a safety thing.
As if 2025 hadn't been enough of a punishment for DTM's most well-known driver. Nevertheless, he isn't gonna let such dire disasters hamper his day. Despite him slowing down in the penalty zone, just as Feller did earlier, he manages to actually keep himself fighting in the points to the confusion of commentators and fans alike.
It's me. I'm the fans because I hadn't paid any f***ing attention.
So this was Wiebelhaus trying to find a gap.
Yes,
no gap. There was absolutely contact. Watch the Ferrari. Off you go. See you later, chaps. And through he comes.
While the midfield is showing the absolute best of what DGT3M has to offer, Guenard is still within a second of Preining ahead.
Smoke coming from the back of Jules Guenard's Mercedes. The right rear corner has got damage. Bodywork flailing, I reckon, on the tyre.
Guenard's day is done and dusted. Nil point for the Frenchman in his Jordan 97 lookalike machine, the cause being damage to his suspension. Now it's Auer versus Preining, Mercedes versus Porsche, Austria versus Austria on home soil. Fighting it out right up until the line, pushing both of their GT3s to the limit of what is possible on Pirelli's new rubber. However, we're not gonna see this duel end in a spectacular move or a calamitous crash out. See the BMW rolling up that hill? That's returnee Kelvin van der Linde suffering from the same oil pressure issues that have been haunting him since preseason testing. So even with 3 laps added to the 55-minute mark, race 1 goes to Thomas Preining and Manthey Porsche. Lucas Auer finishes in 2nd, ahead of Mauro Engel in 3rd. Bastian Boos impresses in 4th, ahead of Tom Kalender in 5th. Wait, hang on. Okay, so hours after the race had finished, Mr. Boos was handed a 5-second penalty for his contact with Dörr, dropping him all the way to 14th place. Oof. Wittmann salvages points in 5th, Timo Glock with a bit of fortune back up to 6th, ahead of Maini, Cairoli, Feller, and Nicky Team. And is that... Yes, that's Mirko Bortolotti in his slow-ass turbocharged boat of a Lambo in 12th place. It might not seem impressive, but considering the turmoil he, Grassa, and Lamborghini have been through thus far, it's a small miracle to say the least. Angsta scores a single solitary point for Abt in 15th.
Yeah, obviously disappointed. It's a shame, but these things happen. And, usually my team gives me amazing pit stops. So today, unfortunately, we have to take one on the chin, but nonetheless, it's a strong start to the season.
Sunday morning, Time for some BOP updates. Aston Martin, Ferrari, and BMW are able to drop 10 kilograms each for qualifying and the race. All three of them, as well as Lamborghini, are allowed to run higher boost pressure as well, with Ford getting the green light to run a slightly bigger engine restrictor. Also, you should keep in mind that for Sunday's race, Preining, Auer, and Engel are running with a bit of success ballast, providing their competition with just the right opportunity to strike back. BMW managed to clinch pole position with comeback kid Kelvin van der Linde.
Yes, boys, come on! Hey, come on, man. We've been through a lot these last 3 weeks, but thank you, man. That's really well. Thank you, guys.
Finn Wiebelhaus shook up the order by qualifying his Ford on the front row, 83 thousandths of a second behind Schubert's Golden Boy. Lukas Auer in third ahead of Gunon and Engel. If anything, Preining and Feller must be disappointed with P14 and P16, leaving an open goal for Mercedes or BMW. Green flag for race 2. Track limits into turn 1 are once more merely a suggestion. Auer, Engel, and Wiebelhaus immediately fight throughout the bends of Styria, with Engel possessing enough testicular fortitude to get past both of them. HRT's rookie is trying his best to hold station and keep Lugi Auer at bay, though Adidas' new favorite poster boy, or box, can't be held back for too long. Race 1 victor Thomas Preining is finding himself in 10th already, though 20 kilograms of extra ballast aren't gonna make his afternoon any easier. Gunon and Wittmann are going back and forth, pushing themselves towards the first of 2 pit stop windows. 15 minutes into the race and it's time for pit stop window number 1. Quarter of an hour to visit your crew, which most of the field gets out of the way rather quickly, except for the top 4. Van der Linde, Engel, Auer, and Wiebelhaus stay out for a bit longer, with Engel, Auer, and Wiebelhaus pitting after 25 minutes. This time around, Windward make their elder statesman proud, Engel now on his way to push past KVDL on an undercut. Such measures are taken at Schubert as well, with Wittmann reacting to Gunon, pitting 1 lap ahead of him. Through said attempt to cover the Mannfilter Mamba, Mr. Wittmann manages to climb up the field, passing Lukas Auer around the outside after the Austrian's pit stop, claiming P3. KVDL does get out ahead of Engel and his teammate, though cold tires aren't the best of weaponry to fend off a championship foe or your next door neighbor. DTM does not use tire warmers, so getting your rubber up to temperature can take up to an entire lap, making you incredibly vulnerable after a pit stop.
Out goes Kelvin van der Linde. He hasn't got him yet because there's a left-hander coming up, and Kelvin van der Linde is going to break as late as he dares, but all the way around the outside now comes Maro Engel. Back up the inside, but not enough grip for the BMW, so Engel gets the lead of the race. And here comes Big Marco down the inside on the way into turn 10, and he gets through as well.
Wiebelhaus and his fluorescent Mustang are dropping back after a subpar pit stop. Gunon and team are spending their afternoon going back and forth, providing fantastic entertainment for the crowd, with team scraping by the unfortunate Mamba. For now, all of this excitement is happening without Thomas Preining. Some of you might want to blame balance of performance for this, but as Patrick Arkenau, chief engineer at Manthey, was to admit after the race, BOP isn't the problem. There were no changes to our car. Furthermore, as referred to by Sönke Bredalo and Sven Heidinger on Motorsport Total, Bastian Boos qualified his Porsche GT3 in 6th place on Sunday morning. Different track conditions compared to Saturday or inept traffic management on behalf of the team didn't help Manthey's drivers either. All around, they were to play nothing but a sidekick role on Sunday. The opposite is true of Maro Engel. He's dominating the race ahead of Wittmann, van der Linde, and the like, so if his pit stop goes well, he should be on for his first DTM win in 2.5 years. And it does. Wittmann, Auer, Team, and Gunon enter the pits at once, with Team losing his hard-fought 5th place to Gunon again. KVDL drops back to 4th, and it seems as if he can't keep up with Auer, Wittmann, or Engel. After the race, he'd claimed that Schubert fluffed the strategy, though talking to Motorsport Total team boss Thorsten Schubert admitted that on Saturday, they'd had to throw away quite a few tires because of significant damage. To give you the TLDR version for now, Schubert did not have a somewhat suitable set of rubber available, so they cobbled together what they could and decided to just roll with it. Both Jules Guenot and Niki Team are responding in kind. In case you're wondering why they didn't just choose to replace those 6 or 7 damaged tires, well, DTM teams are only allowed 4 Joker tires this year, seeing as sets of slicks are strictly limited in all regards and contexts. Schubert didn't want to take a plunge this early in the season, though the cause for the damage remains a mystery for now. Maro Engel crosses the line in first, winning Mercedes' first DTM race at Spielberg since 2003. Marco Wittmann and Lukas Auer round out the podium with Jules Guenot and Niki Team in P4 and P5 respectively. Ben Durr scored vital points in 7th ahead of Finn Wiebelhaus in a solid 8th. Thierry Vermeulen in 9th and Bastian Buus in 10th. P12 and P13 for Fella and Preining are a huge downgrade compared to Saturday. Engel's now in the championship lead, though if Pirelli's project, BOP, or tight duels are anything to go by, DTM 2026 is only just getting started.